Okay, so far we have factored out GCFs, factored by grouping. Then we factored trinomials where the leading coefficient was equal to 1, which we liked because they were kind of easy, like this page. Then we factored trinomials where the leading coefficient was not 1, which were much more miserable because you have to go through all these different combos to try to find the one that works. Or you just kind of see it in your head if that's the way you feel like doing it. But unfortunately with that, there's no work, so you either get it right or wrong. Okay, so now we want to kind of put it all together so far. So what happens if there's multiple steps and you can do lots of different things? So always, always, always try to factor out a GCF first, because once you do, it makes the rest of the problem a lot simpler. You want to check what is left inside the parentheses and factor if you can. If you cannot factor at all, either GCF or anything else, then the polynomial is prime. And I'm just going to say for the record, we usually like, note, make leading coefficient positive if you can. We generally want our leading coefficient to be positive if at all possible. Oops. All right. Okay, so let's factor this lovely one right here. So we have negative 2x squared, let's see, plus 6x plus 108. Now notice right off the bat, do you see how your leading coefficient's not positive? That's not a good sign. So I'm going to factor out a negative 2 because 2 goes into all of them, and if I factor out a negative, that'll turn my leading coefficient positive, which I like. So what'll happen? In the first term, I'll have x squared left. Now I need the next term. Well, it was a positive 6. Positive 6 divided by negative 2 is minus 3. So minus 3x minus 54, because 54 times 2 is 108, and a negative times a negative will be positive. Remember, you should be able to multiply and get back what you started with. This is your original starting point. All right, now that I'm looking here, I have a trinomial, so I'm going to use one of the trinomial techniques, and my leading coefficient is 1. Oh, we love it. We love it when the leading coefficient is 1. So all I have to do is figure out what, when I multiply it, would get me, let's see, negative 2. I know it's going to be x, and it's going to be x, and then I need a plus, and I need a minus in order to make a minus 54 in the back like I've got. So I just need to know what times what makes 54 but adds up to minus 3. And let's see here. Let me make a little table for myself here. And it's an easier table than the other ones. It's more like this. All right, so I need to multiply, let's think, multiply to negative 54, right? Because 1 times 54 is 54, negative 54. And then I need to add up to negative 3. All right, so let's think. What things multiply to 54? 1 and negative 54. Well, that makes negative 53, no good. 2 and negative 27. That makes negative 25, that's no good. 3 and negative, let's see what goes into 3. 18? Yeah, 18. So that's no good. That's negative 15. And let's see, 4 doesn't go into 54. 5 doesn't go into 54. 6 goes into there, negative 9 times. There it is, negative 3. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so that's the one. So I'm going to go minus 9 plus 6, or plus 6 minus 9, either way you want to write it. So I had a GCF and then a trinomial factoring on top of that. So I had 2 for the price of 1 on that one. I'm just going to make this smaller so we can fit it on the screen. Okay, next one. Oh, Lord. Well, I don't like the fact that this is completely out of order. That's not a good start. I want the a squared in front, and then the a, and then the number. That's the order we like to go in. So let's rearrange it and go negative 6a squared minus 6a plus 30. Let's start with that. And then I think, well, again, my leading coefficient isn't 1. And it's not positive for that matter either. So I'm going to factor out a negative 6. That leaves me a squared plus a minus 5, right? Because minus 5 times a minus 6 makes plus 30. Well, this one's super easy. It's going to be a plus, let's think. Let's see, what can multiply to 5 but add up to 1? Oh, yeah, it's super easy, all right, in that it's not possible. All right, let's see. We need to multiply to -5, but we need to add up to +1. Well, 5 is prime, so it's either 1 and -5, which makes -4, or it's -1 +5, which makes +4. That's it. That's all you're going to get out of 5. Okay, so from this point on, we can't go any further, but the problem itself isn't prime. This part of it is prime, because it can't factor. But we already factored out a GCF to begin with, so we're done right here. We factored out what we could. The remainder is unfactorable. The problem itself isn't prime, though. Don't get into that, right? So this is not possible. Let's make a little note. Not possible, right? Isn't going to work. All right, next one. Oh, that doesn't bode well. It's going to be an ugly scene. All right, so let's start by factoring out a GCF, because there's something we can take out of all of this. 14x cubed, oh, is it plus 7x squared minus 70x. Okay, so 7 goes into all of them. 7x actually goes into all of them. That leaves you 2x squared plus x minus 10. Well, that's much more manageable. However, our leading coefficient, see it right here? It's 2. It's not 1. So that's going to be a trickier problem for us. We're going to have to work at it a little bit. So this is 7x, right? And then we're going to have to break up this little middle x term. So we need to multiply 2 times -10. But they're going to have to add up to 1 here. All right, so let's close that for a second and look at it. So I need to multiply to -20, but I needed to add up to +1 for that middle term, 1x. Okay, so what makes -20? 1, -20. Well, that makes -19, no good. 2 and -10, that makes -8, no good. 3 doesn't go into 24. 4 and -5 makes -1, we're close. So -4 and +5, there it is. That makes 1. And again, if you can find the right combo right off the bat, more power to you. I just go in order because then I know I won't miss anything, right? All right, so there it is. It's -4 and +5. Now remember, you can't just go -4 + 5 and you're done. You got to go 2x squared minus 4x plus 5x, take away 10. You're taking this middle term right here. I'm going to underline it. Right there. And you're breaking it up into these two terms instead. So instead of a plus x, it becomes a -4x and a plus 5x. Okay, so now we've got 5 terms inside that parentheses, so we're going to factor by grouping. So look at the first 2 terms, the 2x squared and the -4x. They both have 2x, right? That would leave you x, take away 2 for the back. Then plus 5, and that would leave you x, take away 2. So that's 7x. All right, now look at what's left in here. They both have x plus 2's, right? So you can factor an x minus 2 out. That leaves you 2x plus 5. And you're done. Okay, so let's recap that one. We took out a GCF first, kind of simplify our lives. Good. That left us 2x squared plus x minus 10. The leading coefficient is not 1, so we had to multiply. 2 times 10 made 20, so we figure out what factors of 20 will add up to 1. And that's 4 and 5, -4, +5. So then we broke up that middle term into -4x and plus 5x. Then we factor by grouping on that. So you take the first 2 terms, 2x squared and -4x. You think 2x goes into both of those, so you factor 2x out. That'll leave you an x, because 2x times x makes 2x squared, and a -4 because 2x times -2 makes -4. Then you do it again for the back 2, 5x and the -10. That made 5 go into both of them. 5 comes out, leaves you x, take away 2. Notice how the parentheses are the same. Good, you need them to be the same, otherwise you're in trouble, right? So you keep writing your 7x in front, and then you write your x minus 2 because you're factoring that out. That'll leave you a 2x in this term. When you take the x minus 2 out, that's all that's left there. And then the 5 in this term. And there you go. Last one. Okay, so let's see here. I've got 4x squared minus 6x plus 15. This one's already in good order. The leading coefficient's in front, and it's positive. We like that, positive. So you multiply a times c, which is 4 times 15. That gets you 60. So I need to multiply to 60, but add up to negative 6. Okay, now right here is where this technique is going to help. If you go in order, you'll never be led astray, right? So negative 1 and negative 60. That would make positive 60 when you multiply it, but it'd add up to negative 61. Negative 2 and negative 30, that would add to negative 32. Negative 3 and negative 20, that would add to negative 23. Negative 4 and negative 15, that would add up to, let's see, negative 19. Negative 5 and negative 12, that would make negative 17. Negative 6 and negative 10, oopsie, negative 6 and negative 10, comma. Negative 10, that would make negative 16. Let's see, negative, I don't think 7 goes into the 60. No, it doesn't. What about 8? 8 goes in there, how many times? Let me see. Oh, it goes in 7.5. All right, that's no good. I think we're done. I think we've tried everything. Because if I keep going, 7 won't work, 8 won't work, 9 won't work, and then I'm stuck at 10, and I'm back where I started, right? And then I'm going to start going backwards down the list, right? So this isn't going to work. So there isn't anyone that's going to happen. So let me merge these and put a big not possible. All right, so it's not possible. That's a problem. That means that this problem, believe it or not, is prime. We weren't able to factor anything out of this, including a GCF, nothing. So it's prime. Nothing could be taken out of it. Prime, just like a prime number, like 7. 7 is prime because you can only make 7 times 1 to make 7. Here is just this thing times 1. It's itself times 1 because there's nothing else that'll work for it. All right, we are all done with factoring of trinomials. So next time you're here, we will factor some binomials. Aren't they lovely? And then we'll do one more recap of every kind of factoring there possibly is. So I'll see you back here then.